Okay, so first video update in a while. Hello, everyone. August 1st, that's when we're coming back with the first live show. You know, I've been gone for about a week and a half now at the lake cottage, and right now I'm just actually, I don't know if you can see the water. I go into town. There's a gym there. I go maybe like once or twice a week just to kind of keep active. But, you know, I got to say, I'm looking forward to getting back. We kind of left, right? I mean, I haven't taken a break like this in a long time, and I want to get to that in a second. I think it's important for everyone to do. But right before we kind of took this break, which was planned for a while, you know, this is Hopper just finished chemo, and it's bittersweet because the clock is ticking, but we wanted him to have one last hurrah up on the lake because he loved it there, and you know, get the family together as well, because it had been a while since we'd done that. But right before we went on break, it was just this whirlwind of chaos, and listen, we're so grateful, and all of you have supported I mean, you watching right now, incredibly. If you're watching this, it's me in a car talking, so I would assume there's some level of buy-in. By the way, I don't know how to. These people do all these videos that you see in the car while they're driving. Do they have mounts that they're doing that they just have to do vlogs in the cars? I have no idea. I put a little sandbag behind this to hold it up. Anyway, I'm very grateful for the support. But the point is, before we went on break, it was really stressful, and so you have that, and it's kind of like stirring this pot, and then just boom, dumping it out. You're going from 100 miles an hour to 0, and it was a tough process. I think a lot of people can probably relate to this who I guess work in jobs that kind of either come in seasons or sprints. It's hard sometimes to come down a little bit, and you know, I gotta say, a lot of people, you see all these self-help gurus talking about living in the present, live in the moment. You know what? There is some truth to that. And that has been something that I've been doing here and really trying to do, making no plans, not stretching myself thin. And I think that's important for everyone to do at some point, just to be. But it also dawned on me that I don't think you would ever be able to truly appreciate living in the present, to truly, I guess to truly understand and be grateful for what it is, unless you had lived your life not like an asshole living in the present every day. In other words, unless you had lived your life where you had been responsible and accountable and taking care of other people, working, being disciplined, then being in the present doesn't mean anything, right? Unless you had done all of that, it would just be another day. And I think, you know, I probably need to do it a little more than I do. I think there's some people out there who are probably the same way, but it is amazing to me when people just, they talk about live in the moment, be in the moment, without talking about the other side of that coin. What if Edison had lived in the moment? Tesla. And for those who don't remember, I'm not talking about the car, I'm talking about the man after whom the car was named. George Washington. No great person, no great accomplishment has ever occurred from perpetually being in the present. Now, in order to be able to plan, in order to be able to strategize, in order to be productive, you do need to have moments of breaks where you kind of shut this off, right? Where you can relax, where you can have some time to step back and think and get perspective. That's why retreats exist. That's why almost every great leader, or even just most successful business people, I mean, take your pick, athletes, they have a place to get away and shut off. These are people who tend to be hyperactive, hyper-focused, and then I guess it's kind of, you know, with myself, I have two gears. I have turbo and off. That's what my wife always says. There really aren't the in-betweens. It's kind of a broken clutch and gears 2 through 4. I'm trying to think. How many gears are there? Is it usually 5 in a manual car? You know, this is also odd. See, this is a video of me trying to live in the present and just go with every thought that I have. I can, you know, I've ridden motorcycles for years. I've never driven a manual car. But I did actually. There's an outtake reel on To Save a Life, the film. And if you watch it, it's just me not engaging the clutch properly and stalling. And that's because I had to drive it for the film, and I had never been in a manual car at that point. And no one taught me. And no one has taught me since. So I can ride a motorcycle, but I can't. I don't know. Maybe I would be able to use a manual car. Anyway, something else that I was going to say is the reason that life is all about rhythms and margins. And you've heard me talk about this before. I had one guy tell me one time, "Hey, your career is not a marathon; it's a sprint. Life isn't a sprint. Sorry, it's a marathon." And it's not. It's not a sprint. It's not a marathon. It's interval. It's like interval training. It's sprint, boom, 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 go, 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 go hard, and then you keep moving, but you bring it down a little bit, because no one can be at 100% intensity for that long. This is one thing that I always laugh at when I see these kind of new fitness enthusiasts, a lot of like the CrossFit crowd and stuff like that, and they say, well, then I'm going to do a 30-second sprint. Well, that's not a 30-second sprint. Whatever you're doing, I don't know what it is, but it's not a sprint for 30 seconds. Usain Bolt slows down after 8. The human body is only capable of going at maximal capacity, running, sprinting, for I think it's 8 seconds. It might be 9. You can exhaust yourself and go as hard as you can go, for example, for 30 seconds, but it's not a sprint. And this is why this is important. I'm going to bring this around to something relevant, and I also have a funny story about Nick Jonas right after this. Let's say you're telling yourself you're sprinting for 30 seconds, okay? I would like everyone to do this. Everyone who does high-intensity training of any kind, measure your mileage. Measure your output in those 30 seconds, okay? Go as hard as you can go. You'll find it drops dramatically after 8 or 9 seconds. You can't sustain it for 30 seconds. And so what happens is you've already reached that threshold. You've already hit burnout, and you're just declining in energy. If you go as hard as you can go for 30 seconds or for a minute, you're going to have that boom, out the gate burst of energy, the actual sprint, and you're just going to decline in performance. And guess what? It's never going to come back. You're not going to get a second win. It doesn't happen. That's just biology, right? There are certain limits. This is one thing too, when people talk about living life without limits, but there are limitations. There are limitations. Oh man, I never get tired. No, you do get tired. People get tired. Oh man, I can sprint for 15 minutes. No, you can't. Man, I can go for days without sleep. No, you can't. You can't do those things. So understanding limitations is important, and understanding that, living in the present is great when you can do it, but only if you balance that out with some other rhythms and margins that are intense and where you're living and fulfilling your purpose. And I'll tell you this, on this break, living in the present, I hate to use that term, but just relaxing, just unwinding. I've come up with more ideas, more sketches, more meat segments than I have in a long time. I've been more productive creatively, because a lot of times your best ideas don't come to you when you're under the gun, under a time clock too. So you do need that time sometimes to plan it in being productive. Okay, all right. Let me tell you this other story. By the way, August 1st is when I'm coming back. Really looking forward to it. And I really enjoy the time out here on the lake and with the family and Hopper and my in-laws. It's been fantastic. But we have such a great team at Lighthouse Credit. I'm really looking forward to getting back in and working with them and doing some interesting stuff here heading into election season. So, my dad and I are driving. Where are we coming back from? Oh, we're coming back from the archery shop. We're getting my compound bow pressed and kind of fitted in. And we're driving back, and there's this taco truck outside of a party store. And it looks pretty good. It looks authentic. So my dad and I pull in, order a few tacos, kind of what we typically do is we sample all the different tacos to see what we like and then order more. And we go back, sit down, a fan comes up, and he says, "Hey, Steven, I like your stuff." And it was, it's always still very humbling to this day. If ever I'm odd or uncomfortable, if you come up and meet me, just know that I'm intensely uncomfortable with fame and likely to say something wildly inappropriate. So comes up, says, "Hey, really, can I get a picture?" "Sure, great. Thank you for watching." And I go to sit down. Then there's this other guy next to me who is Mexican. Turns out his mom owns the truck. And he looks at me, and I've had this happen before. He goes, "Yeah, I know you from somewhere, man." And this sometimes happens when someone recognizes you in public. Other people may not know who you are, may not follow, but they just know that someone else thinks you're famous. And so it almost creates this, it creates this odd sort of mass hypnotism where then they want pictures even though they don't know who you are. So this had happened before. And there's no good way if someone says, hey, I know you from somewhere. Maybe if I were a narcissist, well, I host the No Spin Zone. I always say, I've got one of those faces. He goes, yeah, but I know you from somewhere. I said, nah, I don't know. I got one of those faces, but yeah. So, eat the tacos. Delicious, fantastic tacos. We leave, go home. The tacos were so good, my mom and dad go back that night. My dad drags my mom. You have to go to this taco truck. It's like 20 minutes out of the way. I don't want to know. You have to go. So he takes her. He goes back and he says, hey, to the lady who owns the truck. He says, it was so good. I had to bring my wife. We're coming back for dinner. 2 meals in one day. And she goes, oh, that's right. You were here earlier and you missed him. We had a celebrity come by. And by the way, this is not racist. This is how they sound. My dad goes, oh, a celebrity. She goes, yeah, it was about the time you were here too. Nick Jonas was here. Now, if I had done that the other way, for example, if I said that George Lopez was there, that would be incredibly racist. But I guess white guy sideburns, I don't know. Do you think I look anything like Nick Jonas? But to me, what was so funny was the guy thought he knew me from somewhere, but went and convinced his poor mother that I was Nick Jonas and had sat there. And she was looking through receipts all day to try and find the Nick Jonas receipt. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a picture of him on the wall at the taco truck. So, the point is this. August 1st, we're back. Live in the present, but only if you haven't lived an asshole's life your whole life and you've actually attempted to accomplish something and held yourself accountable. Then you've earned yourself the gift of living in the present. You can treat it, and that's what it is. The present is a gift. I'm sure someone else has done that. And never get too big for your britches, because even when you have a few fans come up and recognize you and support you, there's still a Mexican guy at a taco truck who will confuse you for Nick Jonas. He who exalts himself will be humbled. I don't even exalt myself. By the way, I am an entire second Jonas brother heavier than Nick Jonas.